Welcome to Conversations with Magno. My name's Michael, and here is Gil. How you doing there, Gil?
Oh, your voice is breaking up.
Breaking up?
All right, all right. Your voice was breaking up.
Okay.
So okay there? Is it okay there?
It sounds pretty good on my
Okay, very
side.
good.
Yeah.
All right. What question did you have today? You said they had a very important question? Like, are you going to make $1 million this year?
Yeah, if I could
Okay.
figure out this one thing. I need you to move back a little. Yeah. The question is so many people are using this technique. It's about a technique that's used, one that you use, we've used. It's called the emotional freedom technique, and most people call it EFT. Now, some people they think it's crazy and it's a bunch of nonsense. But my question is, how does one really know that this is a valid technique that can truly make a difference?
Okay, very easy to answer. Now, I can answer metaphysically or I can answer practically.
Well, how about both?
Which one do you? How about both? Very good. You're a good thinking man. Um, First of all, I have tried every gimmick. You name it, I've tried it. Because of a phobia that I used to have before. So I've tried everything. And one thing that was not a gimmick was EFT, or is EFT. EFT is very much real. Now, EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques, which is a popularized form Callahan technique, because EFT, I'll use the term EFT because everybody knows it as EFT. The basis of that was discovered by Dr. Callahan. He's a nice chap. And it's an amazing thing. I read the whole thing, how he did it and all of that. And then Gary Craig studied with him, and Gary Craig has a nice personality, a good personality for stage and television, and so he popularized it in such a way that half of the world uses it now. And the way you know if it's authentic or a gimmick is to use it yourself. And I can tell you right now, it does work. And sometimes if it doesn't work right away, it's because you're asking the wrong questions. So you can use it for charge, emotional charge, pain, all kinds of negative emotions. And
Yeah, what if you don't know? I mean, like some people they think, "Oh, I don't have any negative emotions. I'm fine." You know those
well,
people. They don't realize that there's
you
charge.
can't you can't help somebody with something if they don't know they don't got it.
Right.
I mean, if they don't have any detrimental emotions, that's fine. Leave them alone. Why should they come to you as a coach? Maybe someday they will, maybe they won't. Human nature, the psyche of human nature changes. It just keeps going either forward or some go backwards, but it never stands still. I mean, the subconsciousness is still, but I'm talking about a little bit of the outer consciousness right now. That's why I say that once you have freed the inner man, the inner personality, which is a segment of the universal beingness in a person, then you have nothing to lose because everything is there. It never changes. It stays good all the time.
So how does one know that they are fully free then?
How does he know?
Yeah.
How do you think? things go right for them.
Yeah, but
They see the game.
does things go right all the time?
No, things don't always go well. Again, it depends on the right or wrong. I mean, let's say I'm talking to you now and I drop that cup of coffee on the floor. Well, it's not exactly a good thing, but it's no big deal.
Right.
I can get all excited or go weird about it,
Right, right.
or I can wait or close the session and go clean it.
Yeah.
Things like this are all happening all the time. But the person who is not free makes a problem out of it.
Right, 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 right.
Freedom is not making a problem. You have to do what you got to do. But
Right.
life itself, basically, it's not difficult at all. But they got you thinking. They love to get you thinking that you're guilty.
Yeah, but when you say it's not difficult at all, I I I I I don't know if I agree with it 100% because I'm still struggling to pay the bills,
Well,
so
you're
many
struggling with
people out there
that because that's what you want.
that
That's what you want.
I want to struggle to pay the bills.
You sure do. Sorry.
Okay,
I'm
so well,
speaking the truth.
okay. So
I've been thinking about paying bills since I was very young because
right.
nobody ever helped me. Nobody. I went through college starving. I was so hungry during college that I chose 4 foods that I could eat 3 times a day and still survive and be healthy. That's a fact. Nobody ever helped me.
So
There were two.
right.
Let me just finish this section.
Yeah.
There were 2 people that helped me. One of them was a big real estate man in Boston. The other one was a metaphysical master. And I will never forget these men as long as I live. And this real estate person, he had a scholarship for students that had difficulty paying. And he didn't ask me what religion I was, nor the nationality, nor where I came from, none of that. He just sat there and told me to speak. I spoke, and I got the money. And of course, I paid him back after I graduated. Okay, so where are we now?
Well, you said life is easy, and I says, well, I'm struggling, and then you said that I'm the cause of that, correct?
Yeah.
So
And
is it that I'm not taking responsibility in some way?
no, not at all. You're a very responsible person from what I see, and I see a lot of people. It's just that people don't know what the nature of these teachings. Once you know the nature of it, and why it is that way, and why it appears difficult, and all of these things and the weaknesses of man, he begins to live a different way. And he starts living in a way that does not cause him to not be able to pay the bills. It's that simple. So you either have to change something now, and then if you do, and you do, if you want to, you can. Nothing's stopping you. And then in a short time, you got to make sure that never again you will live by the status quo. You have to be different. See, that's what they expect you to do. You expect you to buy things on time and owe a lot of money, credit cards full of loans and things and all of this,
Yeah, but what happens if, your water system breaks and you have to fix it and you don't have the money, so
Like
you have no
I
choice.
told you, that happened to me just in the past 2 months.
Right.
So you gotta, if you own something, you have to be totally responsible for that. That means that you have the money for that. If you don't think you can afford a house and what it takes to run a house, then perhaps you shouldn't have a house. See, people don't want to face facts. But I would say to the average person that if he is having difficulty, there's always something that can be done.
So what is it? A matter of seeing what is it that I can do?
Yeah. You got a lot of stuff over there. Why don't you have a yard sale? That's one thing. Number two, what is it that you can do without? Number three, you can get a friend that you can give music lessons to in exchange for helping you with the repairs around the house. Or even better, four, learn to do these things. I learned I could do, not now, because I have difficulty walking, but I
Yeah.
got to learn to do everything, pipes, and I love it. I love everything I do. I love it. I don't do them now. Now I have to hire someone. So whatever you have to be responsible for that. Ability to respond is responsibility. So if you can't respond to having a car that burns 8 cylinders of gas per week, then get a 4-cylinder. That's one way of solving the problem. There's always something you can do. Now, if you are in debt a lot, of course, it'll take some time. But time is not the issue. As long as you're moving
Yeah, right.
from a non-survival position to a more survival position, that's what counts. But this is not what the world will tell you. The world will tell you, well, you get a nice part-time job. How about starting a nice little business of sales from your house? How about, and they get all of these tricks to get other people's money. So with freedom through this type of spiritual realizations based on the law of creation, we can figure out what to do. And everybody has a different solution.
Now, can EFT be used for that? Figuring out?
Sure.
Yeah.
EFT can be used to eliminate charge on certain things. For example, if you don't mind one of my examples, I was already living in Florida, and I was broke. One day, my brother came to visit me, and my brother is a millionaire, very nice guy. And after he left, I thought, how come he's doing so well in life? Of course, he's an engineer. He's a mechanical engineer, and I was always a teacher and a performer. And on top of that, I always had a phobia that got in the way of my performing sometimes when it woke up from its slumber. So when he left, I said to myself, how come he's doing so well and I'm not? He knows all of these words about money and all these things. So I decided, well, the first thing to master a subject is to learn the nomenclature of that subject. You have to know what the words mean or whatever. So I went to my bookcase, and I had a book there called Wealth Without Risk by Charles Givens, who passed away a few years ago. I love that man. I learned a lot from all his books. He's quite a man, very wealthy. And I wrote a beautiful short poem for him, which he published in his newspaper. And I went to that book and I started reading. I said, but the answers are here. How come I haven't done any of this stuff? Because I was an artist, a performer. I don't need to do all these techniques. So I read the book again. And that was the beginning. I started implementing his advices. And pretty soon, I had $10,000 in the bank. And then from there, I went a little bit more and a little bit more. And I was told by him, don't spend it, because that's what gives you confidence. And it did. I went from one thing to another. And then I saw how easy it was. It just was my fault. I was not paying attention to that. I didn't know. Not you can't say it's my fault, because if I knew, I would have done it. But it took a live example of my brother doing well. You see, this world runs on fault. It's your fault. Oh, good. Yeah, right. Oh. As a matter of fact, there is a law in the last volume of the course number 14. No, I'm sorry, course number 12, which is advanced magnetism, discovered by the 12 secrets. I believe they were discovered by Webster Edgerly himself. And the 12th law is that nobody's to blame for anything. And I accepted 80% of that when I was in LA, but I could not accept the last 20% of it. What do you mean nobody's to blame for anything? Are these people trying to be irresponsible? And then one day it hit me. I had a transformation driving from here to Dennis. Oh my God, the stuff came pouring down so fast, I thought I was going to get into an accident. I pulled over to the side, parked the car, went into the restroom, started writing and writing and writing and writing, couldn't stop. They didn't know what the hell was happening to me. It's all in my latest book, in the sixth volume. So, then I knew nobody's to blame for anything. That doesn't mean I have to love you. If you're a degraded being, I'm not obliged to love you. That's something that the old must have had. So what else do you want to talk about?
Well,
I mean, I can go on and on and on for the next 3 hours.
Yeah, we don't want to do 3 hours. We want to do 30 minutes. So we got, I don't know, about 12 minutes or so. Shall we stay on the topic of EFT? And
Sure, yeah, that's okay, because that's something that everybody needs.
Okay.
So Gary Craig called it EFT, and he popularized it. And there is another feature to EFT, which is a psychological reversal, which is another discovery by Dr. Callahan. And that's when you tap the point between the bases of the little finger and the beginning of the wrist, right over here in the middle. And you say, even though, and then you verbalize whatever is bothering you. Let's say I'm suffering from depression. Even though I feel depressed, I accept, respect, and love myself fully and completely. Now, he discovered this, which proves that you have to always start with that, no matter how advanced you are. And that's because that proves that the world, the majority, live blaming each other. They put blame.
So what is that charge that you can't let go, and by doing this,
that's right.
You're letting go of the charge?
We've been blaming ourselves since childhood. The parents, unless you had very good parents, not my father. My father was very, very good. But the rest of the people, they didn't know very much about anything. And so they're into this thing. Oh, you got to be here, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do that. And poor kids, they're brilliant. They're with a new consciousness. They come into this world with a new consciousness, and they see all of these things, and then they can't be who they are. They want to talk, and they can't. Can you talk? That's really being frustrated. Then pretty soon they start losing, and they say, well, it must be my fault. I mean, after all, they're grown-ups. They have the answers. Not so. Listen to little children. So that's one thing. He called it psychological reversal. That helps to reverse that firm belief that we are the cause. Now, sometimes we are the cause, but this makes it easy to remember this law that we are not to blame for anything, because all happenings are this happening is an effect of a cause, and then this effect becomes the cause of another effect, and it's most people are living in this chain. Now, once you wake up from this sleep, which Gurdjieff talked a lot about it, once you wake up from this sleep and you say, "I have been enlightened," I woke up. Then, if you do something against survival, it's very much your fault. And that's why it's very, very, very important. I only had one such case, maybe one and a half. Somebody signed up for this course. I saw this person cry many times. And then this person just went bananas with this newfound freedom and started committing negative actions. And as far as I'm concerned, that person will not move forward until all that is, what's the word, expiated, is looked at all over again. So in self-empowerment courses of this nature, it's absolutely necessary that the person live a life which does not create what the outside world calls, I call them negative actions.
Would you say calls what?
Negative actions.
So the outside world calls negative actions?
No, what the outside world calls sins.
Oh, sins. Yeah, because I lost it. Okay, sins.
Right, yeah. So once you get to a certain point, yeah, very much yourself. Then you can take responsibility. Everything you do counts. Excuse me. So EFT is a very good thing. Even if you can't find the problem, you always feel much better afterwards. You feel relaxed. And the reason why you don't always find the problem, what's wrong with the EFTers? EFT is the people who practice EFT. And I use EFT with all my clients. And the reason sometimes we don't get at the problem is because sometimes we're not asking the right questions. Because let's say I'm tapping for sadness, and then I do one sequence, then after that I feel angry. I say, well, what came to your mind? Well, I got angry. I feel angry now. I'm upset. This stuff is not doing anything to me. It's getting me really PO'd. Mm-hmm. All right, so you want to tap on that. And sometimes they don't want to do it. So then, if you're a good coach, this is totally against psychology, but I do it all the time. I force them. And they don't say no to me because I am speaking the truth. I know it, and they know it. To the extent that I'm capable of understanding truth. That's what sells. Not the smiles, not the shake handing. So you ask the right questions. Sometimes you hit on the right question, sometimes not. It depends. So he taps one time on anger, and now he's apathetic. Oh, gee, now I feel apathetic. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what to do. Oh, really? Okay. At this point, I usually mix a little bit of regression with the EFT. At this point, I would say, what do you think brought that on? Is there an incident? And he might say, yeah, because what was the last emotion I was talking about? We did after anger?
Apathy.
Apathy. And he says, yeah, because, well, there's when I was small, you know, the blah, 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 da, 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 da. Then I know that there's something there. So I tell you what, let's stop and regress at the same time. Okay, go to that incident, and he's tapping all the time, and he's answering my questions at the same time. And then he keeps doing the sequences 3, 4 times. So after he's so relaxed, there's nothing to make him hold back any information. It's totally open.
So the sequences are done at least 3 to 4 times.
Well, not necessarily.
No?
Yeah, it's up to you or the person who's giving it. I usually like to go 3, 4 times with different reminders. If the first sequence, they might tap here, and I say the problem, the reason why you're tapping. Apathy, 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 so that the charge stays alive. Then I might change over here to pleasure, whatever comes up, depending on what's happening. And so the secret of getting the best results is to be perceptive enough to know what you ask the person. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing, wonderful thing. And it works for physical things also, but takes much longer. On a physical problem, I usually don't attempt it unless the person is willing to put in 2 hours a week, because it takes too long. And sometimes it seems like the original problem comes back, but it's not the original problem. It's a new facet of the problem, a different aspect of the same problem that comes up. And so you clean that up too.
So it's like peeling an onion. You have
like what?
Peeling an onion. You have these different layers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have all of these different layers. Gary Craig used to exemplify it with a table. He said, think of a lunch table with 12 legs. And so you knock 2 of the legs off, no problem, and that table still stands. Take 1 more, and it's a tiny bit wobble, but it still stands. Take 1 more, it's still wobbly, but still stands. Now you take 2 more, and the whole thing falls down, which I thought it was a very good example. I like Gary very much. I also like Dr. Callahan. I wish he got more attention to his invention, but I liked him. Very nice. So anything else about EFT?
No, so then if a person wanted to try it, would they try it with themselves or would they try it with a coach or?
Well, either way.
Yeah.
Try it on yourself first.
And maybe try something simple to see.
Yeah, try it with a friend of yours.
Yeah.
Or a member of the family or something like that. And usually they don't want to do it. See,
right.
Members of the family are the worst to work with. And I don't want to get into that. There are many reasons why. But if you're a teacher, you could be teaching, for example, the world. There'd be a person in your family who simply doesn't believe that you're doing. It's really amazing. He leaves me with my mouth open. Yeah. So you can do it on a friend, small things, begin that way. So you're going to be working also as a a life coach, so get busy right away. Start doing consult with the EFT. Can't go wrong. No harm can be done. It's like in psychology, a person who's not well versed in this might say something that would unintentionally injure the student, the client. You have to be very careful for that. But with the EFT, that's not the case. You can't hurt anybody. Even if you do it completely wrong, you won't hurt anything. Yeah. Okay, Miguel,
right.
Mr.
Okay.
Michael. Good. Do EFT.
All right.
Very good for you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, well, we're doing this on a different computer today, so I really want to see what comes out, so you
Right.
don't blame me anymore that microphone is bad. All right.
All right. Take it easy.
See you next week.
All right. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye.